Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second podcast of the season for Springfield College football. I'm your host, Sam Dostaler. Alongside me is Jimmy Kelley, and we will not be broadcasting the game this week on ESPN 1450 The Hall as Springfield is on the road at Union College. But before we discuss the upcoming game, just want to recap last week's 44-14 win for Springfield over the University of Rochester. What are some of the keys and some of the things that went right for Springfield in that game?
Well, the biggest thing that went right was Joel Altavesta as the inside punch guy on that on their triple option offense. Had 17 carries for 214 yards and 3 touchdowns, and not just punch Jerome Bettis type touchdowns, but like big runs, straight up the middle, break a couple tackles. I think the first one was about 55 yards. So having Altavesta come up big again, as he got Liberty League Player of the Week this week, and this is the second big game for them this season, really gave them a boost that they needed, especially with all the injuries that they're dealing with across the whole team. To have a guy step up and get the job done like that was huge.
You're obviously talking about Joel Altavesta there, those 214 and 3 TDs. He became the second straight Springfield College running back following Mike Davis the week before against Mount Ida to win the Liberty League Offensive Performer of the Week award. The fact that Springfield's had 2 consecutive running backs win that award, what does that say about their offensive attack?
It shows that it's balanced. It shows that it's not one guy is going to get the ball, one guy is going to get everything done type of offense. It's very balanced. And next to this week, it could be Andy Bean, who's the other halfback. It just you never know. Depends on where they are on the field, what's going on, who's playing well, what the defense is doing. And you know that Union is probably going to have film on Davis. They're going to have film on Altavesta now. So who knows? It could be a big week for Andy Bean this week. You just never know with that offense, especially when you look at the week before, Mike Davis, 184 yards on 10 carries. He scored 4 touchdowns. So it's not like they're actively trying to get the ball into 1 or 2 people's hands. It's just a matter of who's doing what with the football. So I think that this offense is really just whoever is the game plan suits better is going to have a big game, and whoever can perform in their touches, because the touches haven't changed. It's always going to be the inside punch guys getting the bulk, one pitch guy's getting the second most carries, and the third guy's going to get an X amount of carries. The quarterback's going to get some carries, so it just depends on who executes better.
A little more on the win over the University of Rochester. It came in Springfield's first ever game in the Liberty League, moving over from the elite, from the Empire 8, after a run in that conference. What kind of statement does a 44-14 win make to the rest of the league?
I think it proves that Springfield's here to win. They're there to win the league. They're not coming in to be just another player in this league. They're coming in. And they're going to win it. They want to win it. Coach DeLong said in our meeting the other day that he thinks it's a good statement, but we've played, the Springfield College team has played all of these teams before, with the exception of 1 or 2 of them, but they've been teams that have been on the schedule. So it's not as though they're walking into the great unknown and coming in as something that these teams haven't seen before. Rochester, they haven't played them since 1929, but that's the exception. They've played Union, I believe, 14 times in their history, and including the last game of last season. So I think that these teams are not unaware of what Springfield's about, but I think a win like that shows that they are in this league to win it, and they're not here to just tag along and be the new guy.
Going back to Springfield, they took home another honor this past week. Max Nasowitz earned Liberty League Defensive Performer of the Week honors. He tallied up 6 tackles, 3 sacks, and 4.5 of those tackles for losses. How impressive was his performance, and how much did that spark the Springfield defense?
Well, as we've seen in the NFL the last couple of years, there's nothing that helps to disrupt an offense, to keep an offense off their game more than an effective pass rush. The Giants did it to the Patriots in the Super Bowl last year, and typically you see the teams that have the biggest sack guys, they tend to do better. So to have a player like Nasowitz come off the outside, he's a natural linebacker. He's been converted to a defensive lineman. He's strong, fast, athletic. He's smart. He's got great coaches, and I think what Coach DeLong said is what we're starting to see is him start to play up to his potential. He's got the athletic tools. He's starting to put together the more academic aspects of the position as far as moves, counter moves, setting things up, and developing a kind of a go-to move. And I guess Rochester, we really saw what he can be capable of when he gets going, and it's pretty frightening.
Unfortunately, though, for Springfield, it wasn't all good news last week. Starting quarterback and actually the team's second-string quarterback, Rob Merkling, appears to be out for the season with a leg injury. Took a nasty hit in the third quarter of the game on Saturday. Freshman John Marrera will now be the starting quarterback. He stepped in and did a nice job in his short time on the field. What can we expect from that position moving forward?
Well, as you mentioned, real tough loss, losing Rob Merkling, second quarterback to go out. Of course, Austin Bateman likely out for quite some time with arm injury. Rob's leg injury is very serious. He's at home resting. But he will be back on campus soon enough, and everybody's pulling for him in that locker room. But John Marrera really he's made a couple of appearances this season as kind of the Hail Mary guy. They'll bring him in when they need to throw the ball. But what he brings to that offense is an athleticism and kind of I don't want to call it a cockiness, but it's almost just an ignorance of the situation. I'm not sure he understands the height of the situation, which can be a good thing because he came in like he was at practice or he was in high school and he was confident. He was running the offense brilliantly, and he's first time out. They threw the ball. I think he gives them an opportunity to change the way they do things in offense a little bit as far as throwing the ball. You might see more than 5 passes this week. Just because he's capable of throwing that better ball than Rob Merkling was. But I think that the youth and the excitement and the energy that he brings to that team is infectious. Talking to him after the game was one of the more interesting interviews I've had. A number of the media here at Springfield College. He's a very excited kid. He's very, very confident and ready to take on this responsibility of being the starting quarterback. And he sold me in about a minute and a half of talking to him. So I think that we're going to see some pretty impressive numbers out of him this week.
All right, now you mentioned next week. We're going to move on to next week. Springfield traveling to Union College this week. Union 1-3 overall. However, they are 1-0 in Liberty League play after a win against St. Louis last week. Do you have any immediate thoughts on this Union team?
They're a strong team. They have a very strong tradition of being a strong Division III team. They've had their fair share of success against Springfield in the past. They have, I believe, 6 players back on offense and 5 players back on defense from a team that beat Springfield in the shootout at the end of the year last year. So I think that, the quarterback position is one of the ones they turned over, but running a shotgun spread offense against a defense like Springfield, which you think the common misconception about teams that run a triple option is that the defense is not capable of guarding against the pass, but they have a look team, they have a scout team, they have people they're ready for passing offenses, and we've seen that this year. They've played every team they've played against has had a passing offense. So they're going to run the shotgun spread against Springfield. They're going to try to spread the ball out. They're going to try to get the ball out to their receivers. The quarterback this season, his name is Connor Eck. He's been pretty efficient to the beginning of part of the season, obviously to make success as a team. But on the whole, I think that what we're going to see is a team that is confident that they can beat Springfield because they did beat Springfield last year. But I think what we're also going to see is that these are 2 completely different teams than the teams that played last November.
Now, one of the an alarming stat that popped up to me as I was going through some notes before doing this podcast here. Union is a team that has allowed 29.7 points per game so far this season, while Springfield is scoring 36.5 points per game. You would think Springfield would be able to put up some more big offensive numbers. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that if you see that number, you're salivating if you're that offense. Coach DeLong and Coach Sarasulo and that offense has just been a well-oiled machine this year. Really, the only time we saw him struggle was in the first couple of drives against Bridgewater, but that was the first game of the season. After that, you could just look at the numbers. You got 36-2. You got 49, right? 42.
49-42.
49-42. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Falling your hand signals there. Just didn't really fall too well. But anyway, the offense has been able to put up ridiculous point totals since that 17-point production in the first game. So I think that they really hit their stride. They're getting better at executing every week. The fact that they've been able to endure all these injuries at the quarterback position when it's such a vital part of the triple option offense, that is just shows how well coached they are. And I think that this is going to be another at least 30-point week for Springfield, possibly 40.
Now, before we wrap things up, if you could pick one key to the game for Union and one key to the game for Springfield, what would that be?
I think Union's got to stay disciplined on defense. They have to make sure that they are identifying the keys to where Morera is looking before he makes his decisions, and try to confuse him as much as possible. This deception is the biggest part of the triple option, and is also the biggest part of defending the triple option, because the quarterback needs to make a read quickly, and if the quarterback makes a read, makes a wrong read, then the play blows up. So if you're disguising your defense, then you're going to mess up the execution of the offense and really throw the quarterback off his game. Now, on the other side of the ball, I think that Springfield's going to need to continue to pressure the quarterback. Nasowitz has been a monster. Narain is a freshman. He actually had an interception last week. That's how effective this pass rush has been. And I think if they bring the same defensive intensity they brought against Rochester, they're really not going to have too much of a trouble with the spread. And offensively, they just need to execute and make Morera have to make as few plays as possible. The less they rely on him to be an Austin Bateman or a Josh Carter type player, the better, because he has 3 very experienced running backs behind him, and he should use them, and they need to make sure that he is using them. So just making sure they execute on offense is going to be the biggest thing for Springfield.
And now, before we let you go, Jim, I'm going to put you on the spot. Prediction for the game on Saturday.
I'm going to go 45-10 Springfield. It might sound like a bit of a blowout, and it is, but I think Ricky Peacock gets in for a field goal at some point, and they put 6 up on the board. And I'm thinking Morera throws a touchdown pass. That's the bold prediction. The touchdown pass is coming this week.
Some bold predictions there from Jimmy Kelley. 45-10 is what he thinks the final score will be in favor of Springfield. Thanks for listening to our second podcast of the season. We'll try to bring you on next week, as Springfield will remain on the road before returning home in a couple weeks. I've been Sam Dostaler, alongside me, Jimmy Kelley. Thanks for listening, and check back with SpringfieldSCmedia.com for results of the game.